So we're going to convert this into a library. The reason why we'd convert it into a library, because we know what it does, we're happy with what it does. It's always going to create a deck of shuffle cards. I'm happy. So I might have several programs that want to do that, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate in this lesson. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new file, and then I'm going to copy all of this. So I'm actually going to cut it from there, and I'm going to paste it in my new file. There we go. So this is a very specific library because this only deals with cards. So I need to think of a useful name for it, and short if possible, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to save this as card library, and really this is going to contain all the routines that I would ever need to do with cards if I wanted to play different games. So I'm going to save that, and that's it, job done. I've created my card library. So when I run my blackjack program now, so I'm going to save it and run it, it's going to go, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Yeah, let's just close this and run that again. I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. There you go. I don't know what you mean by create deck of cards. It's not defined. Well, we've created our own library. We've split the file up logically into components that just do things. This only works with cards as far as I'm concerned, and I'll keep it that way. So I now need to do my own import. So I'm going to do an import, and if you remember, we used random before, but this time what I want to import is card library. There we go. And it's still not going to work, and I'll give you the reason why, and then we'll look at ways of fixing it. So if I run my program, it's going to say, okay, I know what the card library is, but I'm still not happy with it. And the answer to that is pretty easy. When we used random, what we did when we needed random here is we had to use the file name first, random, and then the function inside it. So it had a function called shuffle, and we've got exactly the same thing here. We've got a function inside card library called create deck of cards. So what I need to do is copy that and paste that on the front of each one of those. So it's the file name and then the function inside of it. Do that again, and then the function inside of it with a dot, then the function inside of it, function inside of it, and that's it. That's nice. It's going to work. So if I choose run module now, it's going to go dink. And if you remember, I haven't printed anything out. I could have done that, but if I just type cards, I get cards, pack 3, I get pack 3. So my library is now working, and I've created my own import. Now, the only problem with this is that I'm lazy. I don't want to have to keep typing card library. I could use an alias, and what that is just, if I say as CL for card library, instead of typing card library every time, I can just type CL. So what the alias means is that instead of it being called card library, I've substituted it for CL. Okay, and that will work quite nicely, and I'm going to put a print statement in here to show that it all works nicely. So I'm going to do print pack 4. So when I run my program now, bingo, I've got a deck of cards shuffled as I wanted. Now, I said this library was okay. I'm going to close this library. I'm not even bothered with it anymore. As long as it's in the same folder as all my programs, I'm happy. So if I choose File, New File, and instead of calling it Blackjack, I do File, Save As, Poker. Yeah, and I'm going to do another one, File, New File, and I'm going to save that as Snap. Can't see my poker. I don't think I saved it with a .py. Let's try the poker one again. I didn't. File, save as, poker.py. So I've got different card games, and each one of these card games is going to want a deck of cards. So all I need to do is import my card library. Yeah. Import my card library, and for each one of these, just create a deck equals create. Ooh. You noticed what I did wrong there. I need to start off with card library dot create deck of cards, print deck. Let's call this one pack equals card library dot create deck of cards, print pack. And I've just created a game of Snap and a game of poker, each of which uses cards. So if I run my poker game, it prints my deck, so that's my poker game. And if I run my Snap game, it uses the same library and prints a deck of cards. So that's the use of a library. It can cut down a lot of programming. It's the way I would prefer to write programs, and often it's not easy to separate the routines into just card routines or something else. That will come with time. But the whole point is that I've now finished with card library. I know it works. I know what it does. I'm not going to open it up again. I'm just going to use it. The difficulty I've got is trying to remember these names, create deck of cards, and that's what these things are for. So if I was writing a help file on the web, I'd be doing the same thing: import card library, create deck of cards, and just open and close brackets and say what it would do. It shuffles a deck of cards and returns a deck of cards to the user. So that's the use of a library.